everyone, welcome to another video from simonstamp.com. I'm using two stamp sets from the brand new spring release today. I'm using Stripe Greetings and also the wide stripe background. I started out by creating my card base out of some Basil Marshmallow cardstock. I just folded it at 5.5 to create a top folding card. And now I'm going to be using the wide stripe background. I'm using two different ink colors, green apple and green leaf. I'm starting with the lighter color, which is green apple, and I'm really going to slow down and take my time and really ink up this background stamp. When you have really solid images like this, especially when they're large as this background is, you really want to make sure that the ink really saturates every single area of that stamp. And the only way to really do that is to slow down and go over each area multiple times. So I really encourage you to do that. When it comes to putting your card base down onto the stamp, start from one side and kind of get that positioned on the stamp and then slowly let it fall to the other side. You're going to want to use your fingertips and your hand to really press that paper onto the stamp. I like to stamp my background stamps like this with the stamp facing up on my work surface because it's a lot easier to make sure I get even coverage, because I can put down a piece of scratch paper and use my hands to really feel along that stamp and make sure that I'm getting every single bit of it. The ink looks a little bit splotchy right now, but it will definitely even out. I'm moving on to the green leaf color, and once again, I'm going to take my time and ink this up. You'll notice that this color is super juicy. I've noticed that with some of the darker colors that the ink pads are really juicy, so it's really easy to ink up large solid background stamps like this. So I'm just applying all of that green leaf. And now I'm going to try to get the darker green over the white areas that are between the lighter green. It's a little bit hard, and I'm totally surprised I actually did it my first try, but I'm lining up those lines across the side there, and I'm kind of taking note where the top of the card needs to be. It's right along that bottom edge, and then just sliding that over. This time I'm putting down the right side and then letting it fall over until the whole card is resting on the stamp. I'm using my fingertips once again to press that cardstock into the stamp. This background stamp in particular, because it has such wide gaps in the stamp, you can definitely feel with your fingers where you're pressing down, so it's really easy to get a good impression with this. So it looks a little splotchy, but in the next minute you're going to see that it evens out. So let it dry for about 5 minutes, and now it looks really even, and it will even out even more as I go along with the card here. Now I'm using the greeting stamp set. I'm going to use the little saying that says "Hi there." And I'm going to be embossing with white embossing powder, but because I've put a lot of ink on the front of this card, I want to make sure that it's not going to stick to areas where I don't want it. So I'm just doing a quick test run to see if that embossing powder is going to stick to areas where I don't want it, and it seems to be okay, but it does need some help. So I'm using the Inkadoo Embossing Magic Powder Bag. That just adds a little bit of powder to the surface of the cardstock, dries everything out, makes sure that where I apply the ink, this Versamark ink on the greeting, that will be the only place that attracts the embossing powder. Just inked that up on my compact stamp press and pressed it onto the card, and then sprinkled on a little bit of that white embossing powder that I mentioned, that I tried out before. I'm using my heat tool to melt that. You just want to melt it until you see that it has a glossy surface. And now I'm going to draw my own kind of frame around the card. I used a T-square ruler and my white gel pen. You'll notice that I kind of rotated the gel pen as I was drawing with it. When you're drawing a straight line with gel pens, sometimes it wants to skip. So go ahead and rotate that pen while you're drawing the line, and that will help you get a better drawn line. And then I went around and kind of drew some freehand little scallops, nothing uniform, very doodle-like and sketchy. Then I added some white dots around the inside of that frame as well. And at this point, I realized that I really wanted to bring in a third color. There's the dark green, the light green, but I wanted to bring in another color. So I'm bringing in some cardstock. This is a new cardstock color from Simon. This is called Doll Pink, and I'm punching it with this mini heart punch from the Punch Bunch, from the company. The company is called Punch Bunch. And I adhered that to the card base with a foam square that I cut down to be small enough to go on the back of this little tiny heart. And now I'm applying some Stardust Stickles glitter over the top of the heart. I just needed a little bit of bling. So I think just that little bit of color makes everything pop. And it's a really simple card, deceptively easy. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.